there again, I'm Jay Shepard. You may remember me from last year doing a set of instructional videos for the Arkansas All-State Jazz All-Region Music for the guitar. Well, I'm back by popular demand, so let's take a look at the Ballad Etude first. In the first four measures, you may see some things that you haven't seen before if you're an inexperienced guitar player. Number one, as these examples come to you, be sure and pay close attention to the fingerings. The left-hand fingerings are going to be the key to being able to play this etude very smoothly and cleanly. So the first chord, we have the second finger on the low E, and we have like a little hinge bar, not really a hinge bar, it's just a half bar where the first finger covers two strings on the D and the G string. And the third finger, this is important, the third finger plays the B string on the 6th fret. You'll see why here in a little bit. So we navigate from this chord shape to the next three notes, which are a D, an F, and an A on the 7th fret G string, 6th fret B, 5th fret E. Now notice when I played it, the last note I didn't play with the tip of my index finger. I actually played it with like the middle meaty part of my finger right there. And the reason I did that is because I'm going to use a technique called a hinge bar to connect myself to the next chord. Well, how does that work? Well, the way it works is basically I'm thinking about the chord after those three notes, right? Of this big bar chord with the second finger playing a fret higher. But on these three notes that precede it, I'm going to play. So my first finger currently is playing the high note and just kind of laying over the rest of the strings. So that way, when I move into position for the next chord, the bars are already kind of in position, and I'll have just to press the weight of the finger down. So slowly, the first little bit. This makes the transition seamless. Okay, so after the next chord, another important finger you're going to need to know, where this third finger on the first chord is going to come in handy. So notice on the way down on those top three melody notes, I didn't play with my second finger. So if I would have played with my second finger there, I would have to jump my second finger all the way to the low string to the first chord again of the etude. So you wouldn't want to do this because it interrupts the legato flow of the notes. You want to be very smooth. So to do that, you have to play this chord, then replace the third finger. That way there's a smooth connection of the top voice, which is sort of heard as the melody in this case. So it provides a very, very smooth melodic texture to this etude. In the previous example, you see a few instances of where you actually just get the shift from one chord shape a half step up to the next in the first couple bars. And then things get a little trickier. Look ahead to the measure to where you have this chord. So you have, what I have here is I have the first finger, and then I have the second finger barring three notes. So it's kind of a unusual technique, but I think you're going to find it works very well for this voicing and this melodic pattern that's going on here. So what we have first, though, you're thinking, okay, so I'm going to play that note with my second finger, right? Wrong, because you don't want to do that. You play that, you'll have to jump the second finger up and then flatten it out at the same time. There's two things that are already difficult to do. Number one, a quick shift, and the second thing is flatten the finger out and change the strings that it's on. It's too many things. So what I do, I play the note before that weird second finger bar with my third finger, so I can kind of make the shape already with my first and second finger, and then just slide it on up. Third finger, make the shape, and slide it up. At first, this may be very tricky to you. You'll have to practice it just about as slow as I just showed you, you know. Just one note at a time. Getting the right fingering. Getting the fingers in place before you have to play them. So once you get to that chord, now you have your pinky free to play the melody note. There you go. You can just slide that chord down a half step and back up. And then you can slide this whole pattern up to the 10th fret, the 10th position, and play the next chord by putting your second or your fourth finger down 2 frets higher than the second finger. And then flatten out your second again, and then the last chord. So you have as you practice, you're going to want to play very slowly and pay close attention to the connection that you can achieve at a slow tempo. So here'd be an example of good slow practice. Don't practice anything rushed. Just look for the technical security of the fingers, knowing exactly where they're going to go in your mind before you try an action and move them there, and listen for the legato connection of the notes. So a lot of times the legato connection of the notes will tell you how consistent and reliable your technique is going to be once you speed things up. So remember those things, and good luck. In the previous little bit, it's just a musical kind of emphasis around that G minor chord. By switching between that kind of sound and the dominant sound after it and going back and forth. Kind of helps put some weight on the G for a little bit. It's a simple idea. Unfortunately, the fingering for it is quite difficult. So let's look at it slowly. It's kind of the same as before. Some same chord positions at least. So this first chord is just a big bar with an added finger. Then you play this next chord. So you've got the second finger barring a couple notes, and then your pinky, of course, playing the high note as before. And then you have a little melody walk up to the same thing. But let's be smart about this, kind of like we did at the beginning. Remember this shape from the beginning when we played with the hinge bar? We're going to do it again. That way our first finger is ready to play its low note right here on the 10th fret. Had we not hinged bar it, we would have had to jump the first finger. See, and there's all of a sudden there's too many things to worry about. We have to teleport a finger over and bend the second finger to cover 2 strings and all that stuff, and they got to be on time. Let's just forget that. Let's get the last note of that little walk up in the third measure with a hinge bar. That way the first finger can touch the next chord it's already going to be on. That'll make it so much easier to deal with. So use the hinge bar. Alright, let's walk through the previous example. It's not as difficult as the other ones. So you have this G minor 11 chord again. Then the little walk up, instead of playing up here in 10th position with a hinge bar or anything like that, we're going to go ahead and play it in 6th position, and here's why. So we'll have the same notes but in different spots. So this G will be on the 8th fret of the B, then you have the 6th fret, the E string, and then the 10th fret. Now, by playing this D with our 4th finger, it allows our hand to pivot around this D into this new chord shape, which is a C13. That makes the connectivity very smooth, as you can see. It's a lot easier of a movement too. Had I kept the fingering down here, I would have had to lift it up, and I could have a chance of making a mistake, or you don't want to make any mistakes, especially on tryout music. Tryout music, you want to find the most dependable, secure way to play something and stick to it and be consistent all the time, because your brain will freak out and you never know what happens when you get nervous. So the next chord we have after the C13 is just another voicing of it, where we lift the pinky and we're playing the 8th fret with our bar. And the next chord is this 7 sus4 chord, which is kind of close to the previous chord. And then the fingering on the next chord is very helpful, because it's kind of where you came from, right? You have that second finger free on the last chord. You have the bar down, so you just move the bar and you put the second finger down and you move the 4th finger over a string. Pretty simple, right? So there you go. Practice slow, make it legato, and stick to the fingerings. Those last measures are just replicas of the first 4. So just be sure you got the hinge bar worked in there so everything's nice and smooth. Okay, the previous few measures is probably the hardest stuff in the whole piece. To do this stuff successfully, you really have to look ahead to the next chord and try to plan out the finger movements, or the lack thereof of finger movements, that you're going to want to need to prepare the fingers to play each chord successfully. So let's look right at it. So we can do this much. And then the next measure you have to play though, or not the next measure, but the end of this measure, you need to play with your first finger and lay your third finger across the next two notes. But don't just lay them across the next two notes, lay them across the next three notes. Because the C that would be right there is part of the next chord. So it's got the C down and the F down already in that chord still. It's a tricky movement. Practice it real slow. Practice rolling that third finger over. See, because right now, even while just the F is ringing, I've really got the C below it covered up as well with my third finger. That way when I put the rest of the fingers down for that chord, it's already covered up, so it makes a real smooth motion. So if you play this chord, it's what is this? It's D, sharp 5, sharp 9, D7, sharp 9, sharp 5. And then lift up. So you have this shape, right? You're going to want to play it with these fingers. And the reason is because this melodic shape can be connected to the next chordal shape. See how notice how the fourth, the third, and the second finger didn't have to move at all with that fingering. There you have just some easy first finger leading the way there on those chords. So from the beginning, nice and slow, you have and then you have the A flat 13 to the C half diminished. That's a real tricky movement right there. I see that a lot. There's just no hardly getting out of that. One thing you can do, you can kind of get your first finger laid across the B string on this first chord, on the A flat 13. And I guess you could, but see, my fingers are too thick and big, and I can't do that. So I actually have to pick this one up quickly, and while I'm on my way to that C half diminished chord, I've got to move my first finger towards its note. So everything is just really smooth. When you practice these chords, you want to do the same kind of movement. Play the first chord, and then try to go one finger at a time maybe at first. Okay, so like, where's my first finger need to go now? Okay, over there. Okay, where's my second finger need to go? This way. Third finger, over one. Fourth finger, over one and down fret. So once you map out the individual finger motions from chord to chord, it'll help your finger independence and your coordination. That way it doesn't feel like you're just grabbing chords all over the neck. You're going to miss a lot of notes like that. If you're going to change these complex chords, you really got to take into account each note that each finger's playing and really work on the smooth motion in between those two positions. Try not to waste a lot of movement and keep your fingers close to the strings. Good luck. Back there we had some of the same old movements we've covered, but maybe one new little movement. We have this chord again, our old friend from the beginning, but now we're going to shift up and play. And here we go. Here's another one of those hinge bars. They keep coming up. If you don't learn these hinge bars, I think you're probably going to make some mistakes, or piece is not going to be as smooth as you want it, or it's going to sound hard. And you don't want it to sound hard. You want it to sound like it's effortless and easy. And let me tell you, if it sounds like it's effortless and easy, it's going to feel that way on your technique, and you're going to play so much better all the time. So learn this hinge bar at the end of this first measure. That way it can come down on the D string on the next chord. And also take into account, you just use your third finger, your fourth finger, and the hinge bar. So really all that really happened there is you laid your second finger down, you laid the hinge on the bar down, the third finger stayed on the same spot, and you just kind of had to move the fourth finger up a fret. So it's not as tricky as a movement as it looks. See how smooth I make it look. Hardly any movement involved at all. And then we have our old friend. Exact repetition from earlier. So, good luck with the new shape and hinge bar movement there. So here we have maybe the hardest physically demanding movement in the whole thing right here. So let's take a look at it. We have at the end. So first of all, that's kind of a hard movement right there. You have to make this 6/9 chord and stretch your pinky to get this melody up top. And look where you're coming from. Looks like another hinge bar is in order, right? So you get the hinge bar on the 5th fret, hinge it over to cover the D, while moving the 3rd and the 2nd finger and the 4th finger at the same time, and hopefully landing on it. One thing that will help you here is the fact that we've been playing with a pick and strumming these chords from low to high. And if you strum these chords from low to high, it'll buy you some time to get that pinky there as you strum through. So if I play really slowly, you see how my pinky didn't have to get there before my other fingers did, because I'm kind of rolling through them. So of course, this is going to happen a lot faster once you get the piece up, the tempo. But practice the motion this slow right down to ensure that that is what's going to happen as you practice more. If you build in incorrect motions now, you'll just spit out incorrect, faster motion. It's the same incorrect motion later. What you want to do is program correct slow motions now that will turn into correct, faster, and smoother motions later. So just take your time. Just like that. Make it easy. Don't make it hard. Just keep it easy. Don't even think about the tempo. Just think about the order that the left hand is going to have to go down to make it smooth. Second finger, first finger, third finger, fourth finger. It's real slow like that. And finally, the last chord. Practice slow. Good luck. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments or things you need more help with, feel free to email me at the address below, and I'll be glad to get back to you. I'll also be glad to come assist if you're a band director, give a clinic or some private lessons if I'm in the area. Don't hesitate to contact me about that as well. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.